few months ago, I read an incredible book by George Orwell, 1984. It was one of the best books I've ever read, with great plot and social commentary, which, although being written in the early 1900s, still is topical today. But one of the more radical and dystopian ideas was that of doublethink. For those who have not read the book or simply may have forgotten, doublethink was a type of brainwashing that the government of Oceania used to keep their citizens in line. It basically meant that people listened to whatever the government said without questioning it. In the book, for example, there was, in one mere week, they started fighting one country, and by the end of the week, the original country they had fighting was their ally, and their original ally was the one they were fighting. Furthermore, Oceania had always said they've been fighting against the country that they're currently fighting against, and have always been allies with the country they are currently allies with, even though it was reversed only a week before. The people of Oceania believed it without question, showing the effectiveness of doublethink. Now, when you hear that example, it sounds absurd and so dystopian, but after many months, I have started thinking, and I started questioning if it was something that exists in the real world, and that's what we will be discussing today. Now, I do want to note that this video has examples. I don't believe them all, but for the purpose of the video, I want to give you as many examples as possible so you can make a decision for yourself which ones are an example, which ones aren't, which ones are correct, which ones aren't. In addition, feel free to give your own examples in the comments or make your own video to respond. But without further ado, we shall start. Now, when thinking of examples, the first one I thought of was science. In the third part of 1984, this is where we really have doublethink explained. O'Brien mentions how Oceania controls the past, science, math. They can tell people 2 plus 2 is 5, and it is. They say gravity does not exist, and it doesn't. Now, in this context, he just means that Oceania controls the facts, but it got me thinking, although science is supposed to be a rigid set of rules that define our reality and don't change, this isn't entirely correct. One example is the construct of matter. The original belief was the 4 elements: fire, earth, water, and wind. I believe at some point they added 5th one, but then later they switched it to the atomic model, which went through many different models. And this model was believed up until a few years ago, with the discovery of atoms being made up of more elemental particles. Now, how many people watching this video will not know of this discovery? In my 7th grade science class, I was taught about the atomic model, even though the discovery of these elemental particles was made around 2017. I would have not known of this discovery if it wasn't for my 8th grade science class in Mexico. Why is that? Is that the curriculum in Mexico is updated more recently, or is there not enough information to cover it in the 7th grade course, so they left it out to make the curriculum feel more complete? Either way, somewhere, hundreds of millions of kids are getting the wrong information, and believing it anyway because they learn it in school. So, is this doublethink? What about lying to someone who trusts you? Is giving them incorrect information since they trust you, if they believe it, is that doublethink? And with the internet, where anyone can say anything and any information can be easily falsified, if you make a website with absurd facts that are just incorrect or incorrectly edit a wiki page, for example, you get people to believe it is this doublethink. To continue that statement, so many kids nowadays, they just check the first source and that's correct. And we're training them to just believe whatever they see the first time. Is that doublethink? Or what about movies, or books, or musicals, or any type of media based on a true story, but the slightest change of anything which people think really happened, it might affect how people happen. Hamilton, there are so many changes in that, but people now take that as the real thing. Is that not doublethink? Earlier in my example of doublethink, where I mentioned the war, if you had not read the book, and I mixed up who was fighting who and I said it, would I be committing doublethink on you? Because I didn't remember if they were originally fighting East Asia or Eurasia, but if I said one and it was wrong, would I be committing doublethink on you? Now, this is a zone I don't want to stay in for too long, but it is known that most politicians change the facts in their favor. I will not name an example, but ask the simple question of if they say something untrue to the general public, and if anything is that anything different than doublethink being used in 1984, where the politicians then changed it to benefit themselves or their government? Now, those are just a few examples of a list of many to show you some examples how doublethink could easily be used in our society. Throughout the whole video and the original book, they refer to doublethink as doublethink, which makes it sound as such more sinister and alien. It makes it sound more dystopian, warning us, but not something we have. But with these examples, they have more recognizable names which share many similarities. And these names could be lies, falsifying facts, or possibly just giving information from a certain point of view. Now, I could continue this topic for days, but I will leave this to you watching. What do you think about the topic? Write a comment or make a video. If you do leave a video in the comments, I will make sure to feature it. So, thank you all for watching. What do you think about the topic? Have a good day, and until next time, goodbye.